The sand was red where she had fallen. Not the red of sunset, nor the red of rust, but the kind of red that turned stomachs and made even battle-hardened men freeze for a second. She lay there, silent, clutching her side with one arm, her other hand still gripping a weapon as if letting go would mean surrender. "Medic," someone shouted. Chief Petty Officer Grant, Doc Marlowe, the SEAL team's combat medic, sprinted across the debris-littered street, boots pounding through smoke and grit. He had seen countless wounded men in his years, comrades, locals, even enemies. But he'd never seen her. She wasn't supposed to be here. Her eyes met his as he dropped to his knees beside her. Wide, steady, and hauntingly calm. No screaming, no panicked gasps. Just silence. "Stay with me," Grant said, already pulling gauze and tourniquets from his kit. "What's your name?" No answer. Just a shallow breath, eyes locked on him, unblinking. He pressed his hand against the wound at her side. The amount of blood should have made her pass out. But she didn't. She stared at him, jaw tight, like she had rehearsed this pain 100 times. "She's not talking," one of the SEALs muttered behind him. Maybe shock. Grant ignored him. He knew shock. This wasn't it. This woman wasn't fading. She was holding something back. They'd found her just minutes earlier, crouched in the ruins of a shelled-out school, rifle in hand, fighting alongside the local defense. No insignia, no uniform, just a woman who looked like she belonged anywhere but a war zone. But the way she moved, Grant had caught it instantly. Her posture, the way she gripped the weapon, the angle she covered, not random. "Trained. Pressure's good," he murmured, pressing harder. Blood seeped between his fingers. Still she didn't flinch. He leaned close, his voice low so only she could hear. "Who trained you?" Her gaze flickered, the first crack in her silence. For a moment, the battlefield noise, gunfire, shouted commands, the grinding roar of an armored vehicle, fell away. She was staring at him like his question had ripped open a locked door inside her. Grant's gut tightened. He recognized that look. He had seen it in men who'd carried secrets too heavy for words. The SEALs dragged them back behind cover, smoke curling above shattered concrete. Bullets cracked overhead, but Grant stayed focused on her. He worked with practiced hands, packing, sealing, wrapping. She barely moved. No scream, no plea, just breathing shallowly, her lips pressed shut. "You should be unconscious," he muttered. "But you're fighting me. Why?" Again, silence. Then, as he slid a needle into her arm for fluids, she whispered something so soft he almost missed it. "Don't sedate me." His head snapped up. Her voice was ragged, but clear. And American. Grant froze. Not a local fighter. Not some untrained civilian. She was one of theirs. The team leader crouched beside him. What the hell did she just say? Grant's mind was racing. He knew accents, dialects, the cadence of soldiers. And hers. Hers was home. "Who are you?" he demanded again. She turned her head away, eyes wet now, but still refusing to break. The firefight dragged on, but the SEALs pushed through. When the dust settled, they carried her back to base camp. Grant stayed with her every step, refusing to hand her off. He had too many questions, and a gnawing sense that this woman's silence wasn't stubbornness. It was protection. In the dim glow of the medical tent, as machines beeped and nurses hovered, Grant sat beside her cot. He should have been catching sleep, but something about her wouldn't let him walk away. Finally, her lips parted. "I wasn't supposed to be here," she said quietly. Grant leaned forward. "Then why were you?" She hesitated, then closed her eyes. "Because they left them behind. The children. Someone had to stay." His chest tightened. He had seen the ruins of the school. She hadn't been fighting for herself. She'd been shielding kids. "You're not military," he said. Her eyes opened again. A small, broken smile touched her lips. "I was." Piece by piece, over the next hours, Grant pulled the truth from her silences. She had been Navy once, intelligence branch, trained for field work, but never officially a SEAL. Her records had been scrubbed after a classified mission went wrong. To the world, she didn't exist anymore. But she hadn't stopped serving. When war erupted here, she'd come on her own. Volunteered with aid workers, slipped between borders, taught children how to duck when shells fell, picked up a weapon when no one else would. "You fought like one of us," Grant said softly. She looked at him then, eyes glassy but fierce. No, I fought like myself. Word spread fast through the camp. Some whispered she was CIA. Others swore she was a deserter. But when the SEAL commander himself came to question her, she sat up, pale and trembling, and said nothing more. It wasn't until one of the children she'd saved, a boy no older than 10, was brought to the camp that the silence finally cracked. The boy ran to her cot, tears streaking his dirt-covered cheeks. He clung to her arm, sobbing words no one else understood. But everyone could see the way her hand trembled as she stroked his hair. Grant felt the weight of the moment. The hardened SEALs who had seen everything, lost everything, now stood quiet around her bed, eyes lowered. Not out of suspicion, out of respect. She had done what even they hadn't been able to. She had saved innocence in a place that had forgotten it. Later that night, when the boy was asleep in another tent, Grant returned to her side. You stunned them all, you know, he said. You didn't need a salute. You earned it. She smiled faintly, eyes closing. For the first time since he'd met her, the silence felt like peace, not secrecy. And as he watched her finally drift into sleep, Grant knew he would carry her story, the story of a nameless woman who bled quietly so others could live, for the rest of his life.